Hello, I'm Catalina, and this is Sacred Spiritual Dimensions podcasts. I'm a, I am an ordained spiritual healer and ordained minister, priestess, spiritual life coach, paranormal investigator. I do psychic interventions, spirit transitions, clearings, cleansings, and blessings. I am also an oracle card reader, photographer, and graduated with a AAAS business technology degree. Today's guest is my soul brother friend Max. Hey Max, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. He will be talking about Lilith, cosmically and astrologically speaking, and I will speak on Lilith in her spiritual aspects and how she's been described in the Bible and throughout time. But first, tell us about yourself, Max, who you are and what you do.
Well, that one is actually an interesting question. I wasn't ready for that one, but who am I? Just a normal person that decided to go find answers my own way.
Right.
I guess is the best way I could put that one.
Okay.
Uh,
You you've been
Go
doing some
ahead.
DJing, aren't you?
Yes, yes. That's actually been on the back burner. More focused on production right now.
Awesome.
Got some upcoming releases. I'm really excited for them. Also, I do offer a variety of card reading services and podcasting.
Cool.
And somebody with a unique fascination of looking at information from different angles.
That's true. You've got a lot of information that you've been digging through, going down those rabbit holes and stuff. Max is something else. You're going to get to know him very well.
Let, let's go.
All right. So I did some research on Lilith, and the only thing I knew about her was that she was Adam's first wife. And so I decided to dig a little deeper and to see, and in the spiritual sense, to learn more about her. So Lilith, as spoken about in the Old Testament, um, she was described as Adam's first wife. And she was banished from the Garden of Eden because she refused to show obedience to the first man, Adam. Lilith wanted to be Adam's equal instead of allowing him to dominate her. And when she left him, God created Eve, who would obey Adam. Even though this part of the Bible has been taken out of it, Jewish folklore and some texts of the Kabbalah describe the fate of Lilith, who rebelled against God's rules. According to the legends, Lilith reincarnated into the guise of the snake and tempted Eve from the tree of knowledge to prove that even Adam's submissive wife was not perfect. She did this, well, she felt the need to do that to show who she was anyway. According to the legends, Lilith reincarnated into the guise of the snake and tempted Eve from the tree of knowledge. Yes, I said that. Um, In the mythologies of some cultures, it is claimed that after she was expelled from heaven, Lilith transformed into a vampire and began eating newborn children. I'd never heard that before. The mythologies of the Persians, Indians, Greeks, Arabs, and Babylonians described Lilith as a demon. In medieval Europe, she was described as the wife of Lucifer, tricking people into giving in to sin. And then, with the spread of Christianity and the legends of Lilith, this also spread man's fear of an independent woman who wanted equal rights alongside of his. Therefore, the image of Adam's first wife became the expression of a centuries long male fear of woman who has slipped out of his control. Lilith and Eve are seen as two opposing images of the woman. Lilith is freedom loving, matching both man's strength and intellect and rebelling against the standards, while Eve is dependent, desiring to serve man, whom she accepts as superior. Since Lilith is accused of being the culprit of original sin, she is portrayed as a demon in the various texts, one who bewitches people and makes them lose their judgment. However, she's seen quite differently in art. Besides, as a symbol of our dark passions, Lilith is depicted as the first person to rebel against the lack of freedom and respect. She is smart and purposeful, refusing to bend the knee and accept her predetermined role. Lilith not only seduces, according to some poets and artists, she's also the expression of creative talent, which knows no boundaries, plus is ready to look at the world differently and grow. This certainly paints a dark picture of how mankind has looked at Lilith as being evil, and we can see why she is spoken in that manner simply because she was a strong woman and wanted to be Adam's equal and walk alongside him and not behind him. So, Max, share with us in your viewpoint as how you see her cosmically speaking, is how you understand Lilith cosmically speaking.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay, here we go. All right.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Thanks.
All right. There we go. Okay. Let's go. So, for me, the subject of Lilith, it's an interesting one. This is one of them subjects where there's more than just surface level of information. Like you said, there's not much information if you look at mainstream sources. And if you look outside of mainstream sources, things such as Kabbalicism, the Kabbalistic mysticism, Jewish folklore, you start to find a lot more references. So, for example, one mentions her creation as being before Adam's on the fifth day because the living creatures whose swarms God filled the waters included Lilith. Now, that particular point right there, that particular point of information right there, once you start diving into the subject of like elementals,
Hmm.
right there, so now you can tie Lilith into sirens, mermaids.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? It's
I
there's an
see.
old
Yeah.
saying that says that for a lot of these stories that we pull out of like our religious texts, the stories themselves are just a cloak for the information.
Hmm.
So
Right.
now, once you start going astrological, I'm going to quote an article from astro.com in astrology.
Okay.
When it's talking about, specifically, it says interpreting Lilith. During my years of astrological practice, I have come to use the dark moon in all my chart analysis as a complement to interpreting the moon. It would never occur to me to neglect this influence. The dark moon describes our relationship to the absolute, to sacrifice as such, and shows how we let go. In transit, the dark moon indicates some form of castration or frustration, frequently in the areas of desire, a powerlessness of the psyche, or a general inhibition. On the other hand, it shows where we question ourselves, our lives, our jobs, and our beliefs. I feel this is important since this gives us the opportunity to let go of something. The dark moon shows where we can let the whole flow into ourselves without putting an I in the way, without putting up a wall in the form of ego. In the same time, it doesn't indicate passivity. On the contrary, it symbolizes the firm will to be open and trusting, to let the greater flow through one, relying entirely on the great laws of the universe and on that which we name God. To
Okay.
prepare us for this opening, the dark moon creates a necessary void.
Okay. So I didn't know that she was, well, what part of astrology? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, can you go into that further? I mean,
Ye-
it she's not like a planet, right? I mean,
eh,
she's in her
All right.
own.
So we're gonna right here. We're gonna quote purewow.com wellness Lilith sign. So
Okay.
what is Lilith in our astrological chart?
All right.
Through though the name Lilith has been associated with four different cosmic points and objects, from a Lilith asteroid to a Lilith satellite discovered in the 1600s, which turned out to be a piece of dust on an astronomer's astro grr. See, I told you I'd be
That's
stuttering too.
okay. That's
Astronomer's
okay.
telescope. You may come across information on all of them if you were to late night Google Lilith and astrology. We're going to
Mm,
focus on what has come to be called Black Moon Lilith, which is a lunar apogee or the dark side of the moon. The moon moves around the earth in an elliptical shape, and the apogee, Black Moon Lilith, is the point where the moon is farthest from the earth during this orbit. Black Moon Lilith is not an object, but a point, a pure lunar realm where the moon is in isolation from everything else. Now,
okay.
let's pause for a second, real quick.
All right.
Now, when we're thinking about this and we're thinking about astrology, what is the moon symbolize in astrology?
What does she symbolize? Well, emotions, no?
Mm-hmm.
And
Our nurturing, our sense of security.
okay.
So these are the things. So when we're talking about this, remember these are the things that we're talking about being in isolation. In our chart, Lilith describes where we value free will over inclusion, where we go on our own way. Lilith is where we aren't willing to compromise. This part of our chart is where we can access femininity not as a projection that seeks to please, especially to please others, but as a state of divine creation. Our Lilith placement is where we cut the bullshit so we can get to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
To expand on a previous analogy, Lilith isn't only the rageful explosion of reputation, but she's also the comforting, genre bending exploration of Taylor's folklore. Lilith is where we let the myth and upward mobility and focus on the radical act of just being ourselves. She's nonlinear and she gives no cares.
Okay. So
So, in real simple, easy speak,
yeah.
Lilith is like your inner baddie. It is literally your inner baddie. That's it.
Okay. Okay. So that's she's like our shadow self, our shadow side.
See,
So
look, right?
right? Okay. Okay. And so we are all light and dark, and have we all have a shadow, and there is shadow work that has to be done in our lives if we want to continue to grow and learn from mistakes that we've done, or uh, problems that we've created for ourselves over our lifetimes. And so, oh, okay, so I see. So so
See, it
that's
all
so
fit.
that's kind of a depiction of who Lilith is, and or was, or however they saw her before. Um, and I will be doing some work podcasts about some shadow work, and what it is, that what it is, and how to go about working with it, working through it. So that's okay. That's cool. What else do you know about Lilith?
So it's interesting because Lilith also, there's a variety of texts that are out there that we just, a lot of
Oh,
us
I can't
don't
hear you
even,
again.
can you
Okay,
hear
you
me?
there? Okay,
Yep.
something keeps going on with this thing. Okay, go ahead.
There's a variety of texts out there that we actually don't even really mainstream discuss. Like one of them is called the Nag Hammadi Library. Now, the Nag Hammadi Library is this collection of codexes that they say that they found, tucked off somewhere. And supposedly these are books that, were taken out of the biblical canon. Now,
Okay,
what's interesting in these is when you start reading them. Like, I'm going to read from you out of the Nag Hammadi Library. This is
okay,
called on the origin of the world.
okay,
Before the beginning, since everyone, the gods of the world and people say that nothing existed prior to chaos.
Hmm.
I shall
Okay.
demonstrate that they are all mistaken since they do not know the origin of chaos and its root.
All right.
Here is the demonstration. How agreeable is it to all people to say that chaos is darkness? But actually, chaos comes from a shadow that has been called darkness. The shadow comes from something existing from the beginning. So it is obvious that something in the beginning existed before chaos came into being, and that chaos came after what was in the beginning. Now let us consider the facts of the matter, and in particular, what was in the beginning, from which chaos came. In this way, the truth will be clearly demonstrated.
Okay.
The birth of Sophia and the forces of darkness.
Okay.
After the nature of the immortals was completed out of the infinite one, then a likeness named Sophia flowed out of Pistis. All right,
I'm sorry.
now
Out of where?
Pistis, Pistis.
Okay.
Now, language is wild. So I'm going to finish this section and then I want to examine Sophia and Pistis, okay?
All right.
With the wish that something should come into being like the light of that first existed. Immediately her wish appeared as a heavenly likeness with an incomprehensible greatness. This came before the immortals and those that came into being after them, like what is above. It was a veil separating people from the things above. Now, the eternal realm of truth has no shadow within it because the immeasurable light is everywhere within it. However, outside it, however, is a shadow, and it was called darkness. From it appeared a power over the darkness, and the powers that came into being afterward called the shadow the limitless chaos. From it, every kind of deity that was brought forth one after another, along with the whole place. Consequently, the shadow too is subsequent to what was in the beginning. The shadow appeared in the abyss, which is derived from Pistis, whom we have mentioned. The shadow perceived that there was one stronger than it. It was jealous, and when it became self impregnated, it immediately bore envy. Since that day, the principle of envy has appeared in all of the aeons and their worlds. But envy was found to be an aborted fetus without any spirit in it. It
Hmm.
became like the shadow in a great watery substance. Then the
Okay.
bitter wrath that came into being from the shadow was cast into the region of chaos. Since that day, a watery substance has appeared. What was enclosed in the shadow flowed forth, appearing in the chaos, just as all the useless afterbirth of one who bears a little child falls. Likewise, the matter that came into being from the shadow was cast aside. Matter did not come out of chaos, but it was in chaos, existing in a part of it.
That's deep. Hmm.
Now, Sophia
Okay.
and Pistis. Pistis in Greek mythology was the personification of good faith, trust, and reliability. Good
Okay.
faith, trust, and
And
reliability.
reliability. All right.
Sophia, it breaks down to mean wisdom, and in Gnosticism,
Hmm.
Sophia, hold on real quick. Gnostics held that she was the synergy between the female twin divine aeon of Jesus, aka the bride of Christ, and the Holy Spirit of the Trinity.
Hmm. Okay.
When you dive into, when you start diving into Lilith, it's amazing the connections you can find between all the various belief systems. And for
Okay.
me, that was what drew me because I've started this with wanting, instead of looking where things are different, try and piece a story together. So where are they all
Yeah.
talking about something similar?
Right. So that took you down many rabbit holes. And I've done basically the same thing. And I've delved into a lot of different things. mostly in the spiritual aspects. Uh, lots of rabbit holes, and I can't necessarily discuss some of the stuff with family members because well they don't believe they don't believe, and that's okay, and that's all right. But my mind, I delve deeper into whatever it is that grabs my attention, and I started getting into Sophia, and I have her book. Um, I haven't read it completely yet, but what I did read, I felt it resonated within. So continue.
I was just gonna say the awesome part about this for real, really, like we were so like you had brought up the label of like spiritual and cosmic. They're honestly
Yeah.
the same thing for real. There is just a different level of perception.
All right.
It'd be
That's
like
right.
if you think about it, I mean, when they talk about cosmically, they talk about the type of person you are. I mean, like the emotions you go through, the energy you deal with. It's the same thing they talk about. I mean, when we talk about spiritual terms. Um,
True that. And I'd come across something earlier, but I don't know where I put it. So anyway, so so Lilith, so she's considered dark energy then. She's yeah, she's the way that she was described in the Bible. They didn't want her to be his equal.
now,
And then go
watch
ahead.
this. My bad. I don't
Okay.
even mean. Here's an
No,
interesting
that's all right.
perspective. Here's an interesting perspective, though. Wouldn't our shadow aspect be dark energy? Like, think about it. Our shadow
Yeah,
is what we repress. It's what we put away to fit in.
right.
So that's the part of us that we want to make equal. We want out there. You know what I mean? But we shove it
Yeah.
away.
We've been
Um,
brainwashed. We've been taught to do that. Like it's don't show it. But then you got a lot of people who do show it, and it's like it overbalances on the dark side, and then they're the ones that are like they get into all kind of trouble and shenanigans, and I'm putting that politely. So yeah, it depends on how you look at it. In shadow work, as far as that goes, it's a deeply personal process, and it requires presence, kindness, and utter compassion towards the self. Right. So we make our mistakes and what have you, and it does involve looking into the dark, unconscious, fragmented aspects of the self, feeling into what you find here, and working to reintegrate the pieces of your shadow twin. And I got that through Catherine Ann Lee of the Moon School. I found her information on the shadow work was very resonated very much with myself. Um, yeah, it's an important part of our lives, and we need to learn to, like it says, to integrate the two, our light and our dark. Okay, what else you got for me?
what else I got for you? You know, I sat here debating. When we were sitting around talking earlier, I just sat around and it'd be a quick little draw for us. And I debated on it.
All right.
And then I decided we're gonna go with it. It's been
Okay.
kind of an interesting draw. So the first of the four cards we got, and this is coming out of this Hero's Journey Oracle deck.
Okay.
So first card we pulled one with the sun.
All right. And be in the light. Be the light. All right.
Second card that came out,
You won the lottery. Make room for what?
Wonderment.
Wonderment. Bring it on. I would love to
That
win
was
the
like a lot of
lottery.
syllables. I don't know why he put that many syllables.
Okay. Weird is the new cool. Yes. And behold, what? Boldly express your uniqueness. I agree. And here we are. The thin, thin veil. Let go and let glow. That goes with the Lilith, right?
It was just what I pulled. I mean, really, it's kind of it. I don't know.
That's
It's
interesting. Well, we're talking about her, and she's got her part in there. She wants to say,
uh,
"Hey, this is me."
definitely. I mean, and sometimes embracing that energy, it is a wild ride. It is a wild ride.
And yeah, you want to talk about that some?
I mean, sure. I mean, hold on. Let me confer with my bud on this. Hold on. What
All
up,
right.
ET? We gonna give him some stories.
Yeah, give him some
Bad,
stories. Come on, ET,
bad.
dude. Yeah, all right.
All
So
right. First off, let me introduce this because y'all gonna see this green guy a whole lot with me. This East Up
bring it.
ET. He go everywhere with me. Work everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere. Like I just refused to go inside the casino because they wouldn't let ET in the casino with me.
Is
I'm
he your
so
good
serious.
luck?
Oh God, listen. Angels eat aliens. Angels. They talking about the same thing. We'll get to that down the road. We'll get to that down the road.
Oh, we can
I
get to
mean,
that
but
now if you
like,
want. That's all right.
no, 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 not right now. But not only that, I really borrowed them from the homie. I'm actually about to drop two shirt designs influenced by ET.
Yeah.
Be like, I feel like an alien, so it's only right I carry an alien.
Yeah. So, what is it? Humans are aliens. Isn't that what you said? Basically, I
Alien,
guess we are, right?
aliens are us.
That's it.
But like, so embracing your inner baddie, right? Oh my goodness. Embracing your inner baddie is wild because a lot of times when you're going through this embracing your inner baddie phase, that means that you've let people really walk all over you your whole life. You'll be like, if you're going through this phase where like the lesson is embracing your inner baddie and letting that Lilith out, oh yeah, it's time to release the Kraken. You've been holding back.
Uh,
So
uh,
listen, let
nah.
me yes, yes.
Oh, I was,
You've been
yeah. Anyway,
bottling. Let me
no,
tell you,
no. You don't know the
yeah.
other side. You don't know the other side, yo. But that's all
Listen,
right. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's talk
you
about it.
that means a person. If somebody like real life, honestly, if what the universe is bringing you is lessons and letting your inner baddie out, that's because you've been repressing it too much. To be for real, and I'm speaking that because it's what I'm living right now. It'd be like I'm watching a lot of situations where before in life I would have crashed out on these situations. These situations would have like hit me in my trigger phase. I'd have spazzed out. Whereas to
Yeah.
now in life, I may give a snap and I may snap about it, but I'm able to yank myself back and be cool. I'm being dead serious. Like
I know.
I just recently got spit on at work, and oh
Oh. Oh
yes,
no, no,
I
no,
mean
no.
like listen,
All right. So truthfully, how did that affect you? What'd you do? Did you have to hold yourself back?
ooh, oh
You
listen, what I did, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I went ahead and took my headset off. I had a crew member get themselves on the window. I walked myself outside. I lit up a
oh.
stogie and I got my mind right.
That's honest. I like that.
Oh, listen, I play my cards right at work. I tell them I smell like sage. by the power re- by the power vested in me, I smell like sage.
That's right. I was just outside saging myself.
Yep. Yep.
You carry a feather with you next time. All right, I can dig that.
I ain't even gonna
So
lie.
yeah, I know, and I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, when I first met you, or should I say, when the students of Golden Hawk, we all first met you, you were something else. I mean, you was going through a lot of stuff. You went through a lot of changes, and I was I felt a resonance with you right away because yeah, I got my moments too, but I've outgrown a lot of that. I mean, I should at this age, but even so, I can be triggered. Okay, and there's moments when, and
Uh,
Golden Hawk always said you gotta do not engage, but it's
so
hard.
yes,
But I've learned.
lately it's been a whole lot of series. Like right now, I'm going through this phase where it's honestly trigger after trigger after trigger,
Oh yeah,
and I'm at that point with it where I'm doing a lot better with like catching myself. I'm working on the not responding, but
mm,
I'm getting hit with triggers that like at for some reason there's something up here like hell no, I cannot not respond to this. Like I got to
right.
respond. But
That's
I'm
yeah,
catch like you just said, I'm catching on to not responding.
yeah. It's not always easy though, because man,
It's
it's when people cross your boundaries. You got a boundary line, and they cross it, and they know what your boundaries are, and they do it anyway. Oh, MG. Okay, so I've been walking the spiritual life from all my life, and but I am not gonna lie. I've had my moments. Lilith pops out, and it's sometimes it's just hard to bite the tongue. But
now
but
now
I
I was gonna
go
say
ahead,
Lilith
go
coming
ahead.
out isn't always bad. You know, be like a lot of times, and I think this is where it gets lost. You know, be when it does come up in conversation, is a lot of people when they talk about Lilith, they only talk about the dark side, like the darkness of her and the negative
Hmm.
aspects. I mean, the darkness of Lilith can be awesome.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I grew out my hair in dreads, got the confidence to dye my tips, switched from glasses to contacts. I started making music. Be like, and that was from embracing that baddie in me. Like,
I've heard your stuff. Yeah,
like it's like everything. It's a tool. I mean,
right.
just like all of our astrological aspects, they're a tool for us to use
Yep.
for
True
how we
that.
want to be or how we want to create.
It gives us it gives us information of who we are in all these different houses or aspects. Um, yeah, I get it. So so when you first came into the fold, came into the classes, the Egyptian Ascension classes, and I'm putting a shout out to Golden Hawk Series. Um, you were going through a tough time. Do you want to talk about?
Yeah,
Well, it's up to you. How? I was
I
thinking
mean,
about that NDE.
I gotta be
It's you don't have to.
nah,
It just comes.
nah.
Okay,
It's
okay,
hard to
that's fine.
it's hard to explain. It's just one of them parts where I've learned some things in the past. You get to a point where they can stay there.
Yeah,
It'd
but
be
there was
like,
lessons, some tremendous lessons learned.
mm-hmm. Yes,
I
they are.
Yeah, yeah. So so I'm sure you've done your own share of shadow work. Um, because I see the changes. I've watched you go through these different changes and finding out about ancestors and um, which brought to light various aspects of yourself um, that you didn't know. That's been a source of help, hasn't it? A source of growth for you.
Yes. Okay. So let me think of how a part of this journey has been a lot of self experimentation. And when I say self experimentation, I mean a part of this journey has been ways that you don't typically advise somebody to do. A great example, a psychedelic, like I went on a whole psychedelic spree. Obviously, we don't advise people to go experiment with psychedelics. For me, I personally did that specifically, like studying what I was experiencing, I guess is the best way to place it.
Yeah.
Like all along the journey, it was all of the realizations should be compounding and watching how as things shifted and things changed, and I watched my life starting to change.
Hmm.
And then you just realize like to keep this startup, you got to keep going. You're gonna fall, but you got to pick yourself up and keep going.
Right. Right. I mean, I did my share of experimentation with hallucinogenics in my 20s and
Oh,
30s.
I ain't even done yet. Just right now ain't the time. I ain't even. I got plans. I got some
Oh,
plans.
I believe you do. I mean, it and my reason for it was to expand the mind. I knew there was more to life than what I knew. I knew this everyday 3D reality, however you want to call it. There was more to it because at the age of 13, I my psychic ability started popping, and I didn't understand it. And being having been raised within the Catholic religion, my parents were very much into it. They were devout Catholics, and that was cool. But so when these things started happening to me at the age of 13, as I said, I I I couldn't understand. I didn't understand it. I mean, suddenly there was these unseen entities, ghosts, however you want to call them, and they started messing with me, and it was scaring the bejeebies out of me. And then I talked to my mom and said, "Mom, this happened to me," and so on and so on. And she goes, "Oh, it's okay, Mia. You just had a bad dream." But I knew it wasn't a bad dream. I knew that it was real. It happened. I felt it. I experienced it. And because she wasn't able to talk about it, perhaps, or maybe she didn't understand herself. But I realized that when they were kids, she also had psychic abilities, but she didn't go into that. She did not delve there, but I did because I needed to understand. And that was 1963, so that tells you my age. I've been around for a while. So I just started going to the libraries and doing my research. I started delving into as much as I could, finding out what is this? What's happening to me? That included, out of body experiences. Suddenly I'm looking down on my body and going, what the? I didn't understand what was happening. So as I aged, I just I yeah, started toking in at the age of in my senior year, and I did some uppers and downers and stuff like that, and everybody else was doing it, so there we go. And then after I got married, I got into to acid, and I tried that. I tried PCP and opium and uh, a whole lot of different hallucinogenics, and I wouldn't advise that for anybody to just get into that. You have to really be of strong mind and spirit, because you can really mess yourself up, and some people just don't come back from those kind of journeys. But I found through it all that it really expanded my understanding of the different realities, the different dimensions, and yeah, it's been quite a journey for myself as well. So, yep. And anything else
So,
you care to share?
I want to hear about some of the projects you got going on, though. Since time for you to talk about yourself, some of your projects.
Well, so I've been I've been following this spiritual path for most of my life, and um, I delved into all sorts of things, UFOs. Geez, I can't even begin to tell you. I have it written down somewhere because there was a lot, and I just I was determined to share the knowledge that I have that I've learned over the years. Um, so I plan on doing podcasts. I've been being poked by my guides and ancestors and the netters to get out there and do the work. I mean, I consider myself a light worker, as I explained earlier in the beginning of this, that I am an ordained spiritual healer, uh, a shaman, though the indigenous people call it blessed woman. Um, I'm a minister. I've done psychic interventions, and that being uh, so people that are experiencing paranormal activity in their homes. Sometimes they focus on the most vulnerable in the family, and that's usually children or teens. If the parents are alcoholics and they're into drugs, they are open for any number of dark entities to enter, and then usually that's how they end up with an attachment. Uh, s- and speaking from personal experience, my oldest brother, um, had been and I knew he had done this when I was 13 at the time, and there was a sugar cube on his dresser, and that was 1963, and so I was just a sugar fiend. I just love the sweets, right? So I had gone over there and picked it up, and I thought, I wonder why he's got this sugar cube over here, right? Something inside me said, "Don't do that. Put it back down." And I thought, okay, and I put the sugar cube back. So I noticed a few days later that it was missing, and I thought, oh, I wonder what he did with that. And I just didn't think about it anymore. And then about probably 3 or 4 days later, he came home one night, and I was sitting in the living room with my mom and dad. We were watching some corny TV show or whatever, and here comes my brother. He bursts into the living room, shuts the door behind him, and he's leaning against the door, and he was tripping out, and we just turned around and looked at him like, what's going on? What's wrong? And he says, they're after me. They're after me. The cops are after me. And then something about, I don't know, the Nazis or whatever. And then my parents said, Cat, go to your room. Go on, go to your room. So I left, and I was going, what? What was that about? So years later, I think about that, and I realized that it had to have been acid, because that's what they were doing. They were dropping that stuff in sugar cubes. Yeah. So
Ooh.
he had a psychotic break, and so he got remanded to Camarillo State Hospital, and he was there for about a year and a half. Poor bro. And they put him through all kinds of shock treatments. We don't even know how many, and they had him on these heavy duty tranks, and they messed him up. They messed him up big time.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's in my experience. That's one thing about psychedelics. If somebody isn't mentally, stable, it can be a horrible experience.
Exactly.
There were plenty of times where like, okay, I'll give you a great example. I remember this one specific time. I dropped like 3 tablets of acid.
Whoa.
I'm tripping balls, and I go to this music event. Now, there's a particular gentleman that's like being a rather a douchebag and like being aggressive. And I remember for like a millisecond, like just as I turned and faced him, like it was like I watched like the whole room like split open and like the pit, like into the pit of hell.
Whoa.
It was the wildest experience, and like just me
Wow.
instantly feeling and it was like, I swear to God, I promise you, it was like I felt like I felt myself like powering up, and I just like
Oh,
made it was like having this snap decision and being like, "Whoa, chill out, enjoy your night," and like instantly, like I just like popped backwards
good.
and was like cool and mellow. Like, look, bro, I don't even want no troubles. I'm cool. I'm vibing.
Yeah, you could have invited some nasty
It
business up
was
inside you.
I've had
Woo.
like situations like that a few times. Like situations where the experience was like wild, and I found myself kind of at this where I got to just be conscious about it. Like, yo, you know what this is.
Right.
You know that your mind got control of what's going on here. Be easy, all right. Don't
Right.
fight it. Don't fight it. See what goes. You got control.
So
Um,
you let some of those experiences go to see what would happen or what?
hmm Okay, so when I first entered my self experimentation phase with psychedelics, Goldie said something to me, and it's wild because I know she said it, you know what I mean, out of a place of care and concern and as a warning to me.
Yes.
And in that warning, it also showed me, you know what I mean, like, I don't know, it was a guidepost. Like, I knew what I was, it was like, all right, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm aiming for. She told me that like substances like acid and man-made, you know what I mean, substances created in a lab link us to an unnatural state of consciousness,
Yeah.
a falsely created state of consciousness.
Right.
So as I was going through it, I mean, like noticing the difference between taking mushrooms and taking acid.
Right.
And like now, I have a recipe that I've saved to brew ayahuasca. So it's my intention.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I'm not going there. I don't
I
need to. I don't need to. But go
hey
ahead.
look. My name is Maxx for a reason. We you know what we do. You you know what we doing, huh?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
MAAX, sir.
Yes, ma'am. My name
Double
is Maxx for a
XX.
reason.
You go, boy. Okay, so
But I mean, just honestly know and notice, and like I'll give you a great example. When I do acid, I get to this point where I feel like I'm like floating up and out of myself,
hmm
and I get so high, I get so far into this feeling, and then it's like boom. It feels as if my whole body like smacks this energetic force field is the best way I can put it.
you feel it.
Yeah, and then like when I take acid, I go through these states where it's like it's the best way I can phase it. I can state it is it feels like I'm phasing, but it has this harsh electrical edge to it.
It's not natural.
It just it feels icky. It's the best. Like I'll be sitting here and zoom zoom.
Ugh.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, because that's the. It's not. It's man-made chemical, not
Yeah,
not a natural chemical. Like, yeah, I've taken
that
shrooms too, and there's a difference in the
but and
feeling.
that's what I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
but also that experience having the psychedelic experience and being able to like use that as a sign to navigate the experience and not let myself go into them artificial states it links us into. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it links us into the
Like,
matrix, right? Some kind of.
yeah, like so for me, it's hard to explain this, but it's like using it to boost the effects while at the same time like using my natural system to override the artificial aspect of it.
hmm
I don't know how I came up with that process. It's just a process that happened.
That's your inner strength, Bubba. That shows who you are. You've got that power, and yeah, you discovered it. Well, you knew you had it, but then you discovered it even more so doing the hallucinogenics. So yeah, I get it.
And there's been wild, like I said, it's been wild. It has definitely been sometimes where the experience is like, whoa.
Kind of is it like a shock to the system, or is it like hey, I knew that,
I mean,
like a
okay,
validation kind of sort of.
all of the above. Like, okay,
Okay.
first off, when I listen to music, I'm the type of person when I'm listening to music, I hear the whole composition piece at the exact same time that I literally pick apart every last aspect of the music.
Okay.
Every last instrument in my mind, I'm hearing in an individual track.
Okay.
I'm also hearing the various syncopations and all that all of this at the exact same time. When
Okay.
I'm on things like psychedelics, experiences like that are magnified.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
bet.
like there have been times where I've been performing as a DJ on psychedelics, and it's like I'm riding the muse. I can't even explain
No, I
it. I
get it.
can't.
I get it. I'm hearing you.
It's just like whoa. It's like phasing in and out of linear time for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like when I go on psychedelics, it's really my way of like busting out of linear time.
Hmm. Yeah, I experienced a lot of different things. The first time I had ever smoked a joint with a friend, we ditched the first class in high school, and we went walking to her friend's house, and she said we can get some good smoke over here. So I never had it before, and she was eager to have me try it. And so I said, "All right, but we got to get back to school." She goes, "Don't worry about it. You'll be all right." Shoot. So I get over there. So I get over there, and she introduces me, and I can't even tell you his name, but her name was Frances. Rest in peace. She's not with us anymore, but her and I were really good friends. So I trusted her. So she tells him, "Hey, my friend has never had any. She's never tried this before." He just had this grin on his face. I'm going, "Oh, here we go." So I hear you over there.
Oh yeah, listen,
So
that's why I ducked off the camera.
yeah, it's all right.
That way YouTube can't hit me with no strikes.
So I go ahead and I took a couple of big tokes and whatever, and she kept passing it to me, and I was okay. And then I should have stopped, but then I'm sitting there, and he had music on, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing the musical notes floating in the air in front of me, and I'm going, "What?" And my friend's watching me. She's looking at me, and she's giggling. She goes, "What's going on, Kat?" And I said, "Oh, can't you see that? Look at the notes, man. They're dancing and they're moving everywhere." And she was laughing. And then the guy started busting up on me. I said, "Okay." And then I'm looking at my watch. I go, "You know what? We need to go back to school." And so, I thanked him for the buzz and for yeah. And then we left. And so we were walking down the alley, heading back to school, and I was tripping, and my little naivete was gone, and I was just going, "Wow, this is a trip." And I'm looking all around me, and I'd stop and I'd turn around and look behind myself, and then turn back around and continue walking. And I did this probably 4 or 5 times, and then she's looking at me, "What are you doing?" She said, and I was serious. I said, I'm looking to see where I've been," and she just cracked up. I was serious. I didn't know where I was, and I kept turning around behind me to see where I'd been. So that was my first experience ever in mind bending my mind.
Learning how to mind bend is learning how to time bend.
Thank you, ET dude.
Oh yeah, I'm about to try. Oh yeah, I'm about to have fun with this. Me and ET about to have fun with this.
Well, this is turning out to be a very interesting podcast. Started out with Lilith, and yeah,
Now you kind of seen too though why when we was talking about it, the subject of shadow work linked right with it.
yeah, it does definitely, and simply because the way that the Bible has been rewritten how many times, and it's because of the agenda of that whoever did it, their agendas, and that was to keep
Uh,
women underfoot. That was to keep women in their place because of their fear of women, because of our strength. And I'm not telling no
uh,
lies. I'm not telling much no lies here.
okay. See, I think that's like a whole podcast subject itself right there. To be dead honest, because
Yeah.
if we were to talk about the Bible, we would have to go back to 325 AD and the Council of Nicaea.
Okay. But I've not ever studied the Bible, to be honest with you. I mean, I used to open up the book and see what if there was something I needed to learn, and so I read it. Oh, okay, that applies. But
I mean, it's okay. That's
why don't you come back in here so I can see your face?
because I
Get up
got
here.
something in my head. Because I
Well,
got
you can set that aside for a second. That
you, I know, like, so the Bible, like, a lot of people, again, they only see the cloak of the story in that one.
right.
So they, without like them keys of knowledge, they don't know that it's also talking about astronomical events. It's also talking about other things.
Okay.
That,
So what? So you said 325. The Bible is what? I don't know anything about it.
all right, think about it, right? We got Alexander burning all the books and all that good stuff, right? Oh
Right.
no,
Right.
oh no.
And all
Hmm.
those books too, he burned all the history, her story about the Amazons and the matriarchal societies. I know that much.
Right. The first council of Nicaea was a council of Christian bishops convened in the whatever that country starts with a B, Bithyanin, city of Nicaea, by the Roman Emperor Constantine in 325 AD.
Okay.
The Econumeral ECUMENICAL.
Okay.
Hold on. I know how to figure this word out.
Ecumenical.
Ecumenical
There you go.
Council was the first effort to attain consensus in the church throughout an assembly representing all Christendom. All right. So that type of information, questions I came along in my journey.
All right.
There we go. I have to share with you questions I have, you know, me in order for this information to even kind of register.
Okay.
I started questioning things like the beginning of time, stuff like that. So I started coming across information about the fact that before there was Gregorian time, there was another time system.
Right.
There being Council of Nicaea, when the Bible was created, when books were decided to be pulled away from all these works that were written. I started doing things like studying etymology and digging at words because as somebody that grew up in the church, one thing I couldn't grasp was these teachings. They was like, man, hold on, that sounds hypocritical. Like y'all want me to just basically consent to getting walked all over and just treat it like a dog and hope for a better tomorrow? That's what you want? I mean, and as I started doing these things, I started watching these texts in these books, and all these various books start taking on new meanings. I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
The story of Jesus, Yeshua, whatever name you want to ascribe that man,
Right.
the name is the story of him walking on water, right?
All right.
When we see cartoons about it, when we see physical depictions, we see a story about these people on a boat and a guy walking on water, right?
Right.
Didn't we just say earlier water is symbolic of emotions? It's also symbolic of a body of people. So maybe this was an allegory about a story of a guy teaching a body of people and also wading through his own emotional baggage.
Uh huh. Makes sense.
I ain't saying it's right. I'm saying what if. I'm
Right.
just saying what
Right.
if.
That's a good point.
Oh, when I look at these texts, I really, it's like being a scientist. Like, let's take this apart. What were they talking about?
You
Let's
dissect
look
them,
for them. Yeah.
and that's good. So, so did you read? So did you go into it further? This that first Bible that was written, as you said.
Well, not the first Bible that was written, because remember, all of this is a collection of books. There's no, it's all a collection of books. These are a collection of works that were supposedly written over a period of time, even supposedly after after these time periods. So it's just like now. You know what I mean? Like here's a way at something, just a thought I had. Right now in today's age, there's a lot of stories that get put out as fiction that is known or fact, right?
Right.
So why do we put it past the fact that they was doing that back then? We only assume that all these cultures were super primitive because of the picture that was painted to us.
Right.
What if we took a moment and pictured civilizations like ancient Egypt, Atlantis, Lemuria, all the man? How about these were such civilizations that were more technologically advanced than we are?
Right.
Nah,
Atlantis.
uh-oh, uh-oh. Now
They.
we know who they. Uh-oh,
Well, they've been here forever.
they're us.
Yeah.
They're
They are. They're like from the future. They are from the future and have been Well, see, now that's not something
See,
we can really.
yeah, see, watch. I got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
So
See, for me, oh,
this is just our opinion only, and this is for entertainment purposes. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
for me personally, like while a lot of times we use terms like past life connections, past, future. All right, here's the perception I have. Realistically, there is no past, present, or future. It's all our perception.
Yeah, time is
In the
linear.
study of quantum physics, there was something done called the double slit experiment.
The double what?
This, the double slit experiment,
Swit?
slit, S
Oh,
L
slit.
I, double
Okay.
slit.
All right.
Basically, what they did is they set this projector up and it was firing electrons at this board, firing,
Okay.
had a double slit. So you would think that the interference pattern you would see would, I mean, mimic, I mean, because it was just two slits. What they found with this experiment was that without it being observed, the electrons took on a wave-like nature. They were no longer particle in nature; they were wave-like. They were wavy, so they were all over the place.
Okay.
I mean, so if you really take like the concept of that and apply that to the concept of time, past, present, future are all one moment. They're all the now. This
They are.
now
Yeah.
leads to the next now. It's which ones you choose, what choices you make dictate your next routes.
All right. They're all happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Which is ah
Time travel.
time travel, being multidimensional, which
Right.
again, I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm an accredited expert, but here's something to consider. What if all of these dimensions that we're talking about ain't nowhere far away? What if they're right here
They're
superimposed
right
on top?
here. Yes.
We just can't perceive them with our limited senses.
Unless
We
you.
open up.
Yes. And there's various ways that you can do that. Okay. So I agree. So as a child growing up, did you have did you experience things that you couldn't understand or explain, and but you knew
Yes,
that it somehow it resonated with something you couldn't quite
yes.
formulate in your brain, let's say, at that age?
Well, I guess the most blatant of that is as a kid, I could not control my anger and I would go into these fits of rage in this place where I became a passenger in my body.
Oh,
Like it was real life, like I was aware of what was going on, but it was as if I was really a passenger just watching it.
ooh, all right, I get that.
And my whole life, my temper has been a huge, huge struggling point. It took me a lot of bumping my head to realize that my troubles came from how I responded to things.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I can look back at my when I was younger, and I swear I don't feel like I was fully with both feet on the earth, walking the earth. I could see myself walking along in life, especially in school, but I was there, but I wasn't there. And so there's a lot that I don't even remember from when I was a kid growing up because I was in some other world, I suppose. I wasn't fully with both feet on the ground, honestly. So the kids probably thought I was weird and stuff because I was very introverted, very quiet, and
I was just like a bad kid from a really, really poor, yeah, very poor family. Like, oh God, I hate remembering my childhood. Oh, I hate remembering it.
it's a part of our lives. And there's lessons there that
Oh yeah, definitely lessons.
we had to
Definitely
learn.
lessons.
We had to learn. We had to come to understand. And here we are in our adulthood. And now you can look back at it and go, man, I don't want to have to remember that stuff again. But there's lessons in there. So now we look at it now And yeah,
Yeah, yep.
yeah,
That's what I can say on that one.
yeah.
Whew.
That's what I said. Oh, shoo, man. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't. I don't want to repeat any of that. I don't want to repeat high school either. I don't. I don't.
Oh no,
I'm fine where I'm at
man.
right
Listen.
now because it was
Oh
rough.
no,
It was
yeah.
really hard for me. I hated school. I
I
didn't.
did too,
I didn't feel like I belonged there. I was like a alien. I didn't
man.
belong. I said, "What am I doing here? Why do I have to go?"
It's it's actually wild because as a kid, I actually had great opportunities that would have been available to me had I like had some type of I don't know.
Guidance, somebody you could talk to that help you understand.
Yeah, like if
Like,
there would have been somebody around, I felt like I could have opened up to and explained. Like
yeah.
I had awesome opportunities that I ended up just totally squandering.
Ooh. Well, you didn't know. And now, if you hadn't crossed paths with Goldie back then, shit, me
Like
too. You know.
so, going into like the what was it? Going into the fourth and fifth grade, there was an out of state military academy that was like offering to pay a scholarship for me to come to school out there. I would have graduated from that academy at 18 years old, an officer in any branch of service I'd have chose.
And you didn't want to do it.
Okay, so at that point, I had just transitioned from living with my adopted grandmother, who I lived with for as long as I can remember, and being the only kid to living with my mom and being the oldest of like five. So when that opportunity came along, I rejected it within myself. Like, I guess I felt like, damn, I got dumped here at my mom's. Like, I miss my grandma for real. And I felt like my mom was just trying to get rid of me for real. Like, I took that opportunity as my mom trying to just dump me off and get rid of me. So I purposely sabotaged it for real.
Mm. So now you have regrets about that, maybe to a certain degree, perhaps.
Hell yeah. I'd have never had to be poor. I could have I could have got a free college education. Yes, I have regrets.
But then
But
your
but
higher
but
self had other ideas.
but but
But
but every time I get in them state of regrets, then it clicks in myself and I remember that where I came from don't dictate where I'm going. As a
right.
matter of fact, the story of where I came from is making a great story to pin for where we going. So
Yes. Right.
I
Yeah.
get it.
That's true. That's true.
I got the assignment. I got the assignment. But yes,
I
sometimes I
un-
do have the thought like,
yeah.
damn, I could have had it easy.
I understood the assignment. I understood the assignment. I heard, I heard that. Well, same here. I could say the same thing. I mean, if I
Uh,
hadn't experienced the things that I did as a child and growing up, I wouldn't be on this path today. I'd have been who knows where. I don't know, but maybe out to lunch someplace in a funny farm. I don't know. but but here I am, and I'm all the better for it. Even though some of that stuff was super painful. Ain't that right, ET dude?
yes, it is. And while we taking a quick moment, let me point at the third eye that my boss did install on GT.
That kind of looks like a bell to me.
It's a Taco Bell. It's a Taco Bell sticker.
Ring my
It is a.
bell, ring my bell.
Listen, I'm so serious about ET. Listen, I am so serious about ET going everywhere with me. Work finally gave me a manager shirt for him.
That's cool. I mean, it's probably gonna be a. It's probably gonna. They're gonna. People are gonna connect with that ET sooner or later. Oh yeah, that's Max, and that's his buddy ET up east up
Yeah,
whatever.
yep.
Yeah.
Listen, my plan. It'd be really awesome if they gave me clock in numbers for ET and let me get a double paycheck.
You are dreaming now. Shoot,
Hey, I got to dream big.
I might as well. That's funny though.
It was a comical thought. I might use that. I might use that in the bar or something. I don't know.
Give me a drink and one from my buddy over here. What does he drink? Shirley
Shots of
Temples.
Apple Crown. Oh, me and ET. Shots of Apple Crown. Apple Crown gang.
Ah, shoot. That's funny.
We hey, no secret. We shot to Apple Crown all day.
Oh my word! I seen that he was having a little smoke too here and there with some friends.
Oh yeah, friends, new people. People see me walking with him, be like, "Hey, I want to smoke with the alien." Well, come on, ET love to smoke. ET will all the smoke.
Okay then. That's cool. Yeah, he's your sidekick. I seen you cruising with him in the back seat. Was he a backseat driver or what?
Oh, listen. So listen, when I really be cruising with him, here's how I really be cruising with him. I got this belt from work. We strap ET on my back with this belt, and in my city we got these electric scooters that you can rent. Well, I mean, ET be cruising on the scooter.
I
Matter of
could
fact,
just see you, that dude behind your back.
as soon as I'm done with you, I'm strapping ET up and going to see the homies across town. We jumping on the scooter.
That's funny.
In fact, speaking of a scooter, let me be smart and look and see if where the closest one to the house is.
Oh, they have those over there too, huh?
Uh,
How does
uh,
that work? How does that work? Does it when you have to
so
use
you
a
so you download the app on the phone, and you can load money on the app. You'll be like on your account on the app with your debit card. So you open up the app. You see it's got my location. So there's a scooter right there.
yeah,
I can walk myself. There's a scooter right there. You can see where scooters are.
yeah.
The areas in red are no ride zones. Those are places you can't ride the scooter. You walk up to a scooter, you hit the scan button, you scan the QR code, you take off riding. When you're
So how,
done,
well, how much does that cost when you got money in
uh,
your?
so it's $1 to unlock them, and then there's two different ones. There's a stand-up scooter that's 35 cents a minute, and then there's a sit-down scooter that's like 40 cents a minute.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
And look, I mean, tab maybe depending on your budget, tab be expensive for some people, but it beat walking, and it be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And then you got him behind you telling you where to go.
Oh God, strapped right to my back, looking at people like, and he, and look, just in case somebody want to try it, hold on. ET got the phaser on deck to blam.
Oh, look at that! Don't play.
You
You don't play with me.
don't
Don't
play, he's
mess.
strapped.
Don't
He's strapped.
don't mess with me. That's funny.
But
That's
no,
cool.
for real, ET, it's actually the homies. I just done kind of clipped them. I keep telling them we got to talk about shared parenting for ET.
Hey, so it's one of your homies, and did you just kind of walked away with it? Hey, I got to take this guy for a ride here.
Yep. And
And
then
never
took
took
him back.
and, and never took him back.
Like me and ET about to drop shirt designs and whole.
Hey, that's cool. What are you calling your shirt designs? East up,
Well,
ET,
one is actually just going to be kind of a remember Toys R Us?
aliens
We
are
just,
us.
Aliens R Us.
Ah, yeah,
Aliens R Us. I mean, we're going to release it through the homies. And then the other one is actually it's got alien faces and it's kind of a it's just a new DJ logo, just an alternate DJ logo design that a friend shot me. We're gonna go ahead and put it on shirts.
cool. Well, that's fun. I wouldn't doubt it. That
Definitely.
thing starts to pop because everybody's seeing you around town. I'm waiting for see you on TikTok with your little alien dude.
He is on TikTok.
I haven't seen it yet.
What? Oh
Well,
no.
I mean, you
He,
gotta do some video clips and
I
you
do.
know.
Oh no.
What is the name of your TikTok?
House of Logos LLC.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he stay. Listen, we keep it. He got his own Facebook page now, East Up ET.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, now you got a what's that word? I can't think of the word right now. I lost it. I can't think of the word. It's
An
like
icon.
yeah, something like that. So, well then, anything else you want to share? I mean, this has been we kind of delved off of Lilith a bit there, and but it's
Popped
been
off a bit.
interesting. Yeah, but it's okay because we were talking about various types of shadow stories.
You once said we could do it in two parts, so
Yeah,
now
we, that yeah,
part two can be shadow work.
That's true. Then I might, and I plan to do that. So, well, it was fun. I had a good time conversing and sharing, and you know, again, the things that we shared and talk about, and on this podcast is entertainment purposes only. I mean, we have shared our own personal journeys and head trips, so to speak, and so and I hope that y'all, whoever's watching, will uh, subscribe.
Please.
It'll be going to my YouTube page. It's probably going to post on Facebook and on both of my uh, profiles. One of them is Cat Martinez, and the other one is Catalina. Max has his. You can tell him where you're sharing.
Real easy. On mine, you can find it everywhere. Everywhere except TikTok. TikTok it's under the House of Logos, but everywhere else you're gonna go look: Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, multi-dimensional memo radio.
All
The
right. So,
show bringing you the show bringing you the frequency of freedom and the sound of self-empowerment.
ooh, I like it. Right on. So, um, this has been a real cool experience for me. Like I said, started to say earlier, I've been being pushed by my guides and ancestors and the netters to get going on with my work, and this is what I'm doing because I can't get in my car and travel to all these different places to talk or whatever. So this is pretty good. This podcast thing. I am doing live readings with the card readings with my friend Sandra Justine Wells, and her page is called Sacropedia by Sasa, and it's every Monday Pacific Standard Time. It starts from 5 to 7 p.m. And so I do post the links on my page and on her page as well. So feel free to join us. It's free card readings. For personal, I do personal card readings as well, and it's you can PM me for information on that. And I appreciate y'all being able to watch with us and join us here. Donations are appreciated, and with your support, I will be continue to further my podcasts and further my experiences, and I will be doing some miscellaneous retail items such as um wands. I call them magic wands and talking sticks and other uh, items that I handcraft. So thank you all for joining us. Um, we will probably be doing more podcasts on very many different topics. So anything else you'd like to add in there, Max?
Uh, Not really. If anybody's looking or you're looking to see any more information on my end besides this, you can just look up the website house of the hyphen symbol logos.com.
Right on. And I forgot to add my PayPal link is paypal.me/Catalina13. That's Khatalina 13. So much appreciated. And I hope that you will join us again in the near future. With that, I will say ta ta. It's been
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
Max. It's been fun, Max. We'll do it again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Peace out.
Please.
Bye, ET.
What was it? Ah.